Have you been enjoying Tariq Nasheed on Twitter and his amazing contribution?
Yeah, I guess I've seen like a couple posts or something. I don't know. It's weird that he's even upset that someone would call his documentary homophobic.
All I tweeted out, and I don't even know how I found the tweet, was that tomorrow
somebody sent it to him.
Yeah, either somebody sent it to him or he did a name. He searched up his own name because I know a lot of people do that. And I called it homophobic. He just responded very angrily at the fact that we call it homophobic. The movie,
that's very confusing.
I just walked into the other room to like watch like my person who's like pre-rolling it to make sure we had all the points where we have to like stop and like take the thing off screen.
Yeah. You got a long list of do not show visuals.
Yeah. I was looking, and the only thing I saw when I was walking through the room was just a black man twerking with ominous music.
It's scary because people, if it's a man that's twerking, then he can't have kids.
True, he can't have kids. And you know, maybe if he claps his cheeks loud enough, it might wake up the neighbors. I mean, that could be a disturbance. It's very scary.
Yeah. It destroys families.
Ominously twerking. Do you watch a lot of documentaries?
Yeah. I watch a lot of movies in general. A lot of them are documentaries. Why?
I don't know. I just haven't ever seen you review a documentary before.
I would say a good third of my top 10 videos are documentaries.
Really?
If you see my top 10 of the year list, I would say probably a third of those are usually documentaries. If I'm doing my top 10 of the year list, I'm gathering every potential movie from that year that I think could be good, I guess, or worth recommending. Mm-hmm. Whereas the other videos that I make over the course of the year, big YMS review, typically those aren't you can't riff on a documentary unless it's BuckBreaking or like Room 237 or something like that. You know?
It's kind of
there aren't a lot of those. And then when I do quickies for movies that are in theaters, documentaries are not, they don't have as much of an impact as like fiction.
Yeah, what really gets me about specifically the fan base of this movie is what they'll basically say for the whole movie. Like everybody watching is like, you just don't want to accept the facts, right? The facts of the movie. And you don't like it because of the facts of your community.
From what I saw, it was a lot of interviews of just people who are like, yes, I'm homophobic.
So we're going to skip the intro to this. But we can listen to it, but we have to skip the intro because the intro has some art.
Because apparently it's very profane.
It's very profane, and I want us to listen to the intro.
Are we allowed to watch it, and then you just have it not show on stream?
Yes,
or are we in the dark too? So we get to react to it, and everybody else has to guess.
Basically, yes. We're going to bully people that
way. Or buy the film for themselves.
Or please don't. So you ready to watch this movie?
I'm ready, spaghetti.
So, one thing, his old rapper name was K-Flex, so apparently he's kept it with K-Flex Entertainment.
Oh, yeah, because he had a song called Wash Yo Ass, right?
Yeah, Wash Yo Ass.
Which is
that about right here.
But like,
wash your ass, you got to wash your ass, you got to...
Then why would he hate gay people? Because gay people wash their ass the most.
We have to wash our ass if we want to like get involved in that.
We can't talk about BuckBreaking without talking about power.
The dominant society, they spend a lot of money and resources pushing different types of agendas to...
Here it is, right there. So I was told that this is a documentary about historical fact, and that's how it's been presented to me. We're not even a minute into the movie, and it's already about the political elite, the trans agenda, the gay agenda. They have this gay flag on screen, this great gay sign on screen. Immediately, it didn't take that long for them to like drop the act, right?
Because like right now we see Black Lives Matter with like rainbow, and somebody has that sign.
Yes.
Do you think that was just white gay people existing and then being like, we need to make sure black people have pride? Or do you think that was a black queer person that was like, you know what? I'm gonna combine these two things and fly this flag, right? In Tariq's perspective, it's like no black person would ever like gay people, and they're forcing it on
the start of the Pride movement was started by a riot at Stonewall, led in large part by trans people, many of whom were black. Black trans women helped lead the original riot. 2 years ago, going to community meetings over trans black women being murdered in my community in Prince George's County. So like trans black people and gay black people have always been involved in like the liberation struggle. So it's not like a new thing. Like white people are just like randomly just trying to push the gay onto black people. Here it is. Here is the evil image. The ominous image they're showing on the film right now. This right here. Look how terrifying it is.
They try to confuse us sexually, and if they can confuse you sexually, as our brother Nick
Who's they?
said,
that's the problem with a lot of these conspiracy theories. They say they, and why they said they here? What do they show on screen? This black individual wearing makeup, as in this is confusing them sexually. When they say they, that could mean anything. It could mean the Jews. It could mean the elite, whatever the elite means, whoever. It could mean the gay agenda. It could mean anything. And that's the problem with conspiracy theories, is a lot of them overlap. That's why you'll see like 9/11 truthers hanging out with like JFK people, because they think that somebody did it. And they all think it's the same kind of shadowy cabal in the background.
3 brackets.
Yeah, exactly. It could be that.
When we look at the domination, this society wants to ensure that we are not able to actually mete out that thing that makes humans exist. And that is creating families and procreating.
Psychologically,
there it is. See, the
gay
thing
people
is,
can't have children.
The introduction, gay people can't have children. Number one, artificial insemination exists and gay people can do that. If your big concern is population, just like do government funded artificial insemination. I haven't heard anybody like combat what I've just said before. Like if you legitimately, the only reason you're homophobic isn't because you're just a hateful bigot and it's just because of population reasons, then support artificial insemination. And also, we could easily hit any population quota you want to through immigration policies, or what about child tax credits or stuff like that. Like, you don't need to combat
just, like,
gay.
Adopt a black child if you want. If you're a 2-man couple, black family, and you want a black child, you can still do that.
This is the same argument that I've heard from white supremacists directed towards me. Like, Dylan, you're promoting the gay agenda because you want the white man to be depopulated from America, because then all of the white man's people will become gay, and et cetera, then they won't like hit population numbers.
I also don't think that my support of gay rights ends at just white people. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, gay rights only for white people, and every other country you don't have to worry about it. Like,
the thing is about
if people have less children overall, if every country in the world has less children, maybe might not be a bad thing at this moment in time anyway. That's not the goal, obviously. The goal is just being like, oh, you can be yourself and not have to conform to expectations that other people set for you. You know, don't harm yourself and lie to yourself. If you love someone of the same gender, you should just be able to do it without discrimination. That's not really like much of an agenda, right?
If this is a movie about the oppression of black people, right? There's so much he could cover, you know? Systematic racism, police brutality, all this stuff he can cover. But the one he decides to make a movie about is one that will actively make living life more difficult for black trans and gay people, and spin a conspiracy theory that is as old as time itself about gay people trying to manipulate part of a population control plan, repackaged white nationalist talking point.
It's really anti-Occam's razor. You have to like invent all these weird conspiracy theories instead of just being like, oh, maybe some people don't want to be discriminated against.
So we're not the whitest people on Twitch. I have brought one black queer person to also be here with us, so we can have them also attacked by them on Twitter. Would you like to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, I'm the one queer black person in the entire planet. I'm Katarina.
Hello.
I'm the Dylan's assistant person.
Okay.
Very cool.
Awesome. We're going to keep it going.
The sexualizing of our people, primarily from the dominant society. Most of the time, it was mostly direct. So you had to enforce a level of dominance sexually in order to destroy the mind and the spirit simultaneously. So it was always, everything that I do, I'm going to reinforce it sexually.
By the way, I don't know if chat can, obviously chat can see, because we can't have it on screen for too long because the intro is just like image after black penis of black penis. This guy is very obviously within the Nation of Islam. They wear these suits all the time. I don't know. And he has like the symbols on all over him. Yeah, he's got the tie. He's got the little crescent and star. The Nation of Islam is a supremacist organization, specifically known as being extremely anti-Semitic. And so when he says they in the movie, they for this guy would be that the Jews are the ones manipulating the black population, for example. Oh wait, he has an ADL page? This guy has an wait, we haven't even started the movie. He does. He has an ADL page. From the Anti-Defamation League, Ronnie Stevens Rizza Islam is a Nation of Islam member and social media influencer. He describes himself as an activist, speaker, and humanitarian and black intellectual extremist. Mr. Islam has over 500,000 followers across his Instagram. He interspecies his posts with inflammatory content that regularly includes anti-Semitic, well, that didn't take long to figure out, anti-LGBTQ, and anti-vaccine. Oh my God, he's an anti-vaxxer as well.
Sounds like he's pretty left-wing.
Yeah, he sounds pretty left-wing to me. This sounds like the type of man who sounds like he's an expert on the gay community. He published a book titled Message to Millennials, which was inspired by former leader Elijah Muhammad's 1965 message to black men in America. He's a member of the Fruit of Islam, NOI, an all-male paramilitary and security wing. Since becoming an active member, he has become a leader of Louise Farrakhan. He's like a very, very, very notorious anti-Semite, staunchest defenders against frequent allegations of anti-Semitism and other criticism. Let's read a few of the ideologies. Islam's most common claims include popular talking points that Jewish people today are not true Jews. He often uses the spelling Jewish to indicate the derogatory connotation. Jewish people control the media and Hollywood.
Is he like a black Israelite?
I don't know if he's a black Israelite, but he says that the modern Jews are not the true Jews.
But when people
they're
say
fake
it's not the
Jews.
true Jews, usually that means that they think that like
These are Jews, but they're stunting.
There's like a bunch of people that think that like the black population is like the actual like people of God and everybody else is just LARPing. That black people are the ones that
I think this is different.
Might be different, but either way, he believes that today's Jews are stunting and they're not the real Jews. They're fakers. They're LARPing Jews. Jewish people control the media and Hollywood and use that control to censor black people. Jewish people disproportionately own slaves or controlled the slave trade. This guy's really, who would have thought he's such an anti-Semite? Jewish people and members of the LGBTQ plus community are pedophiles or promote it. The LGBTQ plus community so-called agenda is part of a calculated effort to feminize black men. That's what this documentary is going to be about.
Wait, you know what's interesting here is that nothing here says anything about him being a fucking historian.
You know what? I think that might be a valid point here. Hey, can I ask you a question, Adam? In most of the documentaries you review, are the people they talk to usually historians or just anti-Semites?
I would say most of the documentaries I watch feature just a bunch of anti-Semites and nobody else.
See, those are red-pilled documentaries. We're blue-pilled, Adam. Back to this movie. Oh, God.
This is starting really strong, honestly.
This whole notion that masculinity is somehow toxic and detrimental to society is nothing but an attempt to emasculate black malehood.
I love this so much.
Well, I can show this on stream quick.
And detrimental to society is nothing but an attempt to emasculate black malehood.
That twerking right there is going to effeminate and emasculate the black. You know, personally, maybe it's just Tariq Nasheed being correct, but I see that and I'm like, hey, not that bad. I don't know why they're angry about it.
Honestly, I'm just impressed about his form more than anything.
Form?
Yeah, that was some fucking immaculate form.
Do you think George Soros taught him how to do that himself?
It's clearly an agenda. If you have two eyes in your head and you're able to see.
Here it is. We can teach Black History Month and LGBTQ history at the same time. In fact, we should.
This is quite the epidemic of this perspective. It's a lot of blog posts. All this Jewish money is pushing it so hard. They've hired like 2 bloggers.
They hired a blog to do it.
Not only blogs, but just blogs from random fucking websites.
I love it because he talked about we have all the facts. I was told by Tariq that I could not dispute the facts. And the facts he brings to the table is an unsourced blog post where we don't even see what website it's from. Like, what would be difficult about teaching the existence of gay people and black people? Because you know what? They have both existed.
It is also quite often intertwined. When we talk about Black History Month, we're never talking about like all the different LGBTQ activists involved in Black History Month. So quite often we talk about the history of Pride Month, and then suddenly we talk about black trans women. It's like, why weren't we doing this for Black History Month?
It's true.
You can see that it's an agenda, and it's an agenda to decrease our population.
Oh no, he's getting Thanos.
Yeah, he got Thanos snapped by the dick. That's what happened to me. Just evaporate, you know? If I see too many, I evaporate because I become too gay.
It's always been about destroying the black family.
It's always been about
it. Underneath my obvious interest in, you know, being able to marry who I want to was an interest in destroying the black family.
There's honest criticisms that you can make, and you can draw attention to, you know, issues of racism within the LGBT community, but that's not what this documentary is. You know, like if we're going to talk about like race and queer people, you know, then you know that some people might make a documentary saying like, oh, there are some people in the LGBT community that are racist, and I think there were articles about, you know, on Grindr, some people would say like no blacks or Asians or something.
Yeah,
and
I
that
see
was just
that
like
actually.
An accepted thing that some people did, or yeah.
I mean, there's actually
but that's not what this documentary is. Like to Tariq Nasheed, like those people are probably doing black people a favor by not accepting them into the LGBT community, right?
Yeah, there is actual racism within the LGBT community, just like there's racism on like in every community, right? Yeah. But there's not like a statistically higher than average amount of racism in the gay community, and there's nothing implicit about being gay that is racist. Where he's trying to make an implicit historical tie between homosexuality and transness and racism.
You can't mistreat people if they're unified. You need division. You need all sorts of pathological behavior and conduct.
Acceptance of gay people divides. It's inherently divisive.
But second order entities need to feed on you because they don't have a direct connection to the one Most High.
What does that have to do?
Blackmail.
What did that article say?
Why white women keep getting caught pretending to be black.
What does this have to do with BuckBreaking whatsoever?
It doesn't have anything to do with BuckBreaking.
The point that they're making, there's a push of trying to get black people to be more accepting of homosexuality, not just to destroy the black family, but because since black people invent everything, because there's literally nothing that happens culturally without it being stolen from black people, they have to get black people to accept it so that the rest of the world does. That's their perspective.
Okay. I mean, honestly, like everyone knows that a lot of black people are very socially conservative, and there's not very many movements when it comes to like progressive issues that had to get black consensus first. Like gay marriage did not pass because suddenly the black community was like, this is okay, like as a consensus.
Yeah, we needed permission.
We needed permission.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Remember the permission slip that I gave you saying you are now allowed to start having homosexual sex?
I thank you very much. Yeah. I do think the armed guards was a little much. But
sorry, I just had to flex my power.
The heterosexual black male is last on the pecking order here in America. If you're just a heterosexual black man, how are you gonna beat the case?
They're last. There's no one below them.
I reacted to this part months ago too. I'll say the exact same thing again. You can make a case if you were specifically talking about like court proceedings. You could maybe make a case that like straight black males probably have it the worst. But if you're talking about like, I don't know, just general well-being or like suicide rates,
like what would the difference be between a judge looking at a gay black man and a straight black man?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Within the judicial system, no, you're all just treated like a bunch of black men. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't think they would like be specifically like this is a gay black man, so they're gonna be treated less racist.
Depends how much they show it. I think that you know, more feminine qualities usually go better in the eyes of a judge. I mean, I could just be making this up and it's not true, but that's my understanding at least.
I mean, I would also say that like we could talk about the trans black people. Trans black people have a much higher murder rate than other communities in this country.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, suicide rates. Because suicide rates is definitely a male dominated problem, but specifically in the gay community, it's even higher percentage than just generally. Yeah. So I don't know why he specifically is trying to prop this up as this is the, I guess in his mind, like the supreme victim of society.
Oh, by the way, Geek just said that he finished going through all the timestamps, so he watched the whole movie for us, and he said he hated the whole thing. So thank you, Geek, for going through.
That's a white man's opinion.
Oh,
thank you for suffering.
That's a white man's opinion.
Because when you show up to court, when you show up to the job interview, when you show up to wherever, you coming in here as a heterosexual black man, you have no power.
When Mark
You're not getting a job too straight.
If you're a gay black man, then they're like, yeah, too straight.
That is such fucking bullshit.
See, that's a bad example if you're going to make that case.
No, a flamboyantly gay black man is never going to walk into a job interview and they're going to be like, wow, we love you.
Round the manhood.
I love that image. That's so good.
What is...
Oh my God. God!
Okay, now I get a better understanding of the budget. Okay.
Okay. We got the budget of the film now unlocked. The hand goes through his back, I guess.
Like that's confusing to me. Looks like a shit post.
Why ground the manhood out of the nigga? Because it's black masculinity. That
there's nothing about being gay that says you can't act manly.
Yeah,
there's like entire communities of gay people that are like bears, and they're into like bros and gay bros, and like that. Whether or not you're fucking a dude doesn't mean you have to be.
True. I would
feminine.
make the argument actually that having sex with women is actually extremely kind of gay. Think about it. I mean, you look for feminine qualities, long hair, pretty eyes, right? Look, I want a six-pack and some big muscles. Like what? Like I want some manly stuff.
I want someone to bench press me before dicking me down.
Okay, let's we're not gonna be, this is not gonna be a monetized video. We're not gonna be monetized.
Fraud.
Chris Ray-Gun, everybody.
It did look like Chris Ray-Gun.
As
I love the imagery though. Like if you just think about like what he's doing editing wise, we had a shot of athletic, strong black men punching the air with a sunset in the background and a silhouette, and then we immediately have a shot of like scrawny looking like I'm scared and I need to use my weapon to compensate because I'm so weak, white man sort of thing. You can really tell what he's going for here. Because white people are weak, so they have to make black people gay so that they will be weak.
We need resources in so many things, but they ignore that and they put millions and even billions of dollars to tell us that you need to really embrace your LBGT side.
Okay, what?
He loves saying LBGT. He's either stupid and doesn't understand what people typically say, or he's intentionally trying to delegitimize it by calling it the wrong thing, like Kamala, or as we just saw on that website, Jew-ish people, or Vosh, or any number of like, I'm not giving you the respect of saying the thing that it should be said.
Stan Marsh. Stan Darsh is more like it.
I mean, I think it's just kind of like the whole idea of when people say like Antifa all the time, where like what it actually just means is anti-fascist, and it's not like some scary organization. So if you say LGBT, people are like, ooh, very
LBGT,
scary.
it was LGBT.
Yeah, well, now they got me confused.
These people have an agenda, and it's up to us to understand what the agenda is.
Can you like back up just like what, I mean, like just back up one of your claims with like some sort of actual article and not like
it's all just blogs.
Where are the billions of dollars that are being spent on telling black people to embrace their LBGT side?
Also, Dylan doesn't like moving the microphone a bunch for me, so I'm going to hop into to call myself on my own computer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm silencing black voices, making Tariq Nasheed proud.
Wow.
Making him angry at me.
That was the goal.
By the way, so since there's only an option of either, so is this two options, you're either gay or poor? Is that it? So you can either deal with poverty or deal with homosexuality? That's it? So you're either gay or you're poor?
Yeah.
Fun.
In order for us to fully grasp the concept of buckbreaking and the historic sexual exploitation.
Why all this panning shots of snowy mountains?
It's free. He probably has a license. He paid like $10 for a month and used everything.
Hey, Vosh, thanks for the raid. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We first have to go back into the history of Europe, and we have to understand what created this ideology and the mindset of the white supremacists.
The European culture have no history of a civilizing educational process called culture before they meet us. So you're dealing with someone that's moving.
What is that? Wait, what?
Okay, I know exactly what's happening here. And there are people in let's say far right circles who will call this "we was kangs." Is there a way to say that without sounding like a far right person? Is there another phrase
really
to describe?
No. So we're just gonna call it historical bunk, right? What they're trying to assert is that black people had all the culture and white people had none of the culture, and that the reason why white people did all the bad racisms was because they were jealous of the prowess of the black man, and so they came over.
So you got to turn them gay.
So you got to turn them gay. So they turned them gay to embarrass them because they had no culture, or enslaved them, or did anything bad to them.
Timeline.
White people had culture. If you go to ancient Europe, you can see like the
mayonnaise.
Yeah,
voice cracking, furries.
Your movie sucks. Like they have culture.
Yeah.
white people culture.
Responding only to instincts and desires.
Is he trying to make the argument that white people are just animals?
Yeah, and this is why it becomes indistinguishable from just like far right neo-Nazis, is because you're just swapping races. Like that's all you're doing. Right?
Look, I don't want to like equivocate these people, because obviously neo-Nazis are much more dangerous than these lunatics. But oh my god,
the mentality is what I'll say.
Mentality is the same. Yes,
the lies that people have to tell themselves in order to in order for them to be more comfortable about their own existence.
Exactly.
And whatever it takes to fulfill that. Raping, murdering, plundering, pillaging has been the history of Europe.
They do realize that during the raping, pillaging, and murdering and wars between European... In fact, they showed culture right there.
And plundering.
Right there. If you see that, look, that person's wearing clothing. You know what clothing can be considered? Culture. If you look in the background, you see that person wearing chainmail and I think a Christian garb. Religion. That's culture. There's culture all up in this picture. How can you be telling white people they never had no culture in Europe? Then you actively even show bits of it during your part trying to demonize them.
They created a perverted way of looking at nature. And so it becomes important that when we look at them, it's not just what they do, it's the perversion of what they do. So,
by the way, are we going to have to Google every single one of these people to just check if they're like horrible racist or not? Because the first guy we checked, Riza Islam, hardcore anti-Semite. Are we gonna have to do that for every single person in this movie?
Depending on what time we want to be done the movie. I'll be back in like a minute.
Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm gonna Google who this guy is, who they labeled as an educator and historian. Let's just Google him quick. What was his name? Dr. Kaba Kamin. He's got an Instagram. There's not much I can find on this guy. We found a ton on Riza, but there's not much on this guy. He probably isn't a real doctor. Oh, come on. He could be an actual doctor. We don't know. Okay, I can't find anything interesting on this man. Let's read some of what Riza Islam believes. No one is born gay. It is forced upon them through chemical manipulation by the government. Chemical manipulation by the government? What does that even... Oh my god, it's the frog gay water. You know, the chemicals in the water are turning the frogs gay, except they're doing it with your drinking water. Also, if the effort was specifically to make black people gay, how are they doing it specifically with the chemicals targeted specifically at black people? And through international bankers, that's code word for Jews. Vaccines cause autism, illness, or death, particularly in black children, and vaccines are part of a governmental depopulation plot targeting black people. Okay, so this guy is an anti-Semitic, homophobic, anti-vaxxer that Tariq Nasheed uses as a reliable source in this movie. Inside the Nation of Islam's ties to Scientology? Oh God, I don't want to learn anymore.
So isn't partially the people that you get for your documentary kind of a reflection of your beliefs as well?
Of course.
Probably. All right, I'm back.
You're back? We're just looking more into the Riza Islam man. By the way, another person in this movie is by a guy by the name of Lord Jamar, who apparently is also a Holocaust denier. So this movie has a lot of scientific basis. Yeah, very cool. Scientific basis. And I'm excited for the rest of the facts going to be pushed by Holocaust deniers and anti-Semites.
I'm waiting for anything to back up what he's saying.
Literally anything. No, it's okay.
We've seen 2 blog posts and then some interviews by some crazy people.
The European sexual culture operate at the level of animal, responding to physical yearning, physical stimulation. The sacredness and the value.
What was that supposed to represent? The value of yearning?
Tariq has a lot of butt pictures on his computer, and he's got to share them.
he really does have
Tariq? I meant Tariq.
And so that's why you find so many occasions of Europeans involving themselves with the animals they were raising. I mean, they've passed laws in Scandinavian countries.
Wait, is he trying to make an argument that white people are more likely to be practicing bestiality?
Yeah,
it's white women, okay?
White women.
White people fuck dogs. That's what they're really trying to go for right now.
He said they would back this up with facts and figures. I loved all the data and statistics and evidence they showed for white people being systematic animal sex havers. I love the one piece of art of a woman laying on top of a cow, which was sex apparently. I mean, maybe that's Tariq's idea of sex.
To the choir. He's made this for people who want to believe what it says or already believe what it says. Like, if everything he's saying here is true, he's doing a fucking terrible job at communicating that.
The Greeks had gods devoted to, like Pan, which is a freak, like a satyr, which means like an animal that did people and animals, or Ganymede, the god.
There was a lot of gods in Greek society, and you know what? Some gods were cool and some gods were bad. By you saying that a god existed doesn't mean that they thought it was a good thing. They could be specifically saying it was a bad thing.
God that was bisexual, if he showed up, you had to like give him some. It was good. If you didn't, you got in trouble. I mean, you have people have a pantheon. You have gods that are freaks.
All these people are also religious, though, right?
People,
like none of these people are like atheist agnostic in this documentary, right? Like
how many of these people
if we're just going by like this culture's god was problematic, you could say that about every culture's god.
I can basically go into religion. If the idea is that their gods in the past were problematic, like I could just talk about how certain gods have like slaughtered whole villages, massacred and genocided millions
Cutting
of
babies
people.
In half.
Exactly.
Pedophilia, slavery.
Telling fathers to kill their own children.
So if we're just gonna be like this culture is bad because they literally believe everything that the god did that they worship because they're born into it culturally, they condone every single thing and don't take it as some sort of fable or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's a silly argument.
I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of Bacchus, but I've seen a picture of Bacchus.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
And this big thing of wine with hummingbirds or something with strings holding his penis up. The big long penis, a big thing of booth.
Again, it's very hard to watch this movie and take it seriously as they tell me how homophobic we need to be, while they also describe and show us many images of penises.
They think about it a lot.
The thing is about ancient art and history is like when you think of mediums for art and expression during ancient times, there was no YouTube video. There was no like songs that you could record on your iPad and take it around. All you really had were really just depictions in art and maybe like poems and certain writings. So it's not surprising that you would have a lot of ancient art expressing things like sex that we do in modern days. Sex happened in ancient times. Sex happens in modern times. Sadly, does not happen in Tariq's bedroom, but it usually happens in other people's bedrooms. And them fantasizing about some old god or drawing in Europe of some big white penis is not proving anything about them being particularly promiscuous. There are depictions of genital regions and these types of things all over cultures, all over the world, because sex is a unifying human experience across all cultures. There's two things I think that all cultures in the world kind of understand, and one of them is sex, because you need to perform that to not only continue your species, but to also derive a lot of pleasure.
I think it's funny that he would say that if someone showed art of that thing in something that they made, then that person is a degenerate. But he's doing that in his documentary, which is art. He's literally doing that same thing. He's showing it. He's producing art with a bunch of penises and naked people and twerkers. So
the things that straight people usually focus on is the sex. I don't know why they particularly focus on the sex, but you could look at gay culture, gay music, queer clothing, or any of these things, queer appearances in film and television, but they always seem to specifically focus in large part on the sex.
Because it's supposed to trigger someone's disgust response, because if they're not attracted to something, then they go, ew, that's disgusting. And then another part of their brain lights up and goes, oh, if it's disgusting, it's immoral. But it's like, I don't know. You could show a lot of weird, kinky shit that straight people do. Have you seen the fucking categories on Pornhub? Like,
I'm not really big on
fucking angels, straight people.
True.
Okay.
True.
Ran up into.
I do want to just bring up the fact that this is just an interesting image on the internet of Tariq. Now, I'm not saying anything about Tariq here. I'm not saying anything about Tariq. But Tariq, you know,
yummy.
I mean, like, I have no problem.
Daddy,
no problem on my side. I'm just saying, like,
not only did they brag and boast in their sacred literature about flaying the black gods, flaying the black skin of the gods, but they bragged about sodomizing the black gods.
The guy who was just speaking, we just got another ADL post about them Nation of Islam's Wesley Muhammad calls COVID-19 punishment for the sins of Jews.
Wait, so did he just find like just a whole bunch of fucking like NOI people? Like,
I don't know why he's specific. Here's Wesley Muhammad, who they just call an author and lecturer. They don't say, hey, this guy's a member of Nation of Islam. It's anti-Semitic history. This guy's an anti-Semite. Boom. Whatever. Let's bring him into the documentary.
If you had a boy that you were, having sexual relations with 12, 13, 14, 15, you'd have to do a number of things. One, you'd have to promise him protection. Two, you'd have to promise that you would educate him. Three, you'd have to make sure that you would always provide for him, whatever that may be.
The thing is, he didn't even say which culture this is. This is just a vague culture in place for white people. He didn't even say what's inside. I think it was the Greeks, maybe?
Just putting random fucking photos of white people, and they're just like, yeah, one of them.
I need to communicate something here. What really sucks about this is because, like, he's turning it in because of the way that he's like addressing the information in this documentary, if we're going to call it information. So like the entire narrative at this moment in the documentary is like, oh, there's evidence of white people having pedophilia or doing those sorts of things in historical periods of time or something like that. Therefore, white people are inherently pedophilic or something.
Actual terms and agreements when it came to you having sexual relations with a little boy.
Pedophilia has existed on every continent of the world. Don't try to paint it like it was more prevalent here or more prevalent. It has existed in every single continent. It existed in Africa, Australia, the Americas, South America, Europe, Asia, everywhere.
Just play the Animaniacs song.
Yeah, play the Animaniacs song where they go through all the nations. Lee's Romanians.
A critical element of white male masculinity is the ability.
What is this? What is he? What? By the way, this is the same guy who believes COVID is a punishment to Jews. Just to be clear,
Not Gay documents that a critical element of white male masculinity is the ability to have gay sex as a straight white man.
And who is the person that wrote that book? Yeah, and is it like, is it the Bible? Is it in every hotel room? Like, why is this relevant? Oh no, someone wrote a book.
Look, let me put it this way. If that was the case, there wouldn't be so many people lynched for having sex with other men.
She said that's a critical element of white male masculinity. So the very concept of white masculinity is predicated upon the ability to...
Look, he's just showing images of a bunch of naked ancient gay men.
Yeah,
that's what's going on right now.
Old paintings.
Old paintings. Look, the thing is, what you see here is people going to heaven, right? If you look at this site right here, they're going to heaven. It's very clear from like the scene on top. You don't take your clothes to heaven. There is no shame in heaven. There isn't anything. The concept here isn't.
They're fucking butterflies.
There's butterflies and such. Do you think the concept here was us on Earth, us gay whites? We just love to get in massive orgy piles and lay on top of each other. That's not the point of this ancient piece of art or this medieval piece of art. The point of this art is like biblical in nature. It has nothing to do with what he's even talking about. These images that he's bringing up have nothing to do with what he's talking about.
A human being is only as great or as worse as his or her environment. Your babies are freezing in your arms to death. No mercy. And so they have this mentality of just of viciousness because they are reflecting their environment.
So he's saying that white people are vicious, particularly more vicious because of the snow.
He's rationalizing the viciousness of white people.
Well, then couldn't someone easily just do this for the reason why?
Yeah, it's like it's not even worth going down that fucking road.
You just do the
reflection.
Like, none of this is data, none of this is facts, none of this is science. This is all just bogus nonsense.
When you're in the ice, you're not really thinking about healthy relationships. And quite frankly, when the urge hits you, any hole will do.
What is he talking about?
Oh my God, it's so funny. He's saying because of the cold temperatures, you're worn down and you just got to give in at that moment to the sweet boy pussy. Like this is what's so funny about homophobic people, especially when they're trying to like rationalize their homophobia. They're always presenting it in this way where they're like, "You'll never get me even though I'm very tempted." Like in their brain, they think everyone's like constantly fighting this battle internally where they're like, no, I'm strong and I got to keep myself. I'm going to clean my room and make sure I don't fuck the gay boys. But it's like, dude, like if you're like 100% straight, you don't have that Like there is no conflict. You just like the opposite gender, right?
Yeah.
So what if you're bi or even gay? Doesn't matter. You don't have it's so weird because we're all trapped inside our own human perspectives that you can't get inside someone else's head. But then when you see someone saying this shit and you're like, holy shit, you think everybody thinks that way.
Does he think that if I just turned the thermostat down in his house, he would just find me more attractive?
He wouldn't be able to resist.
He wouldn't be able to resist me? Damn.
Yeah. That's the breaking point. The buck breaking point.
Ha.
In fact, sex with a woman was a necessary evil to white folks. For pleasure.
How did the babies
sex with
happen?
a woman was a necessary evil?
I agree. All white people are gay.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So every white person's gay and everyone's having sex just because they want to propagate their bloodline. But honestly, every time a white man sees a woman, he wants to vomit in his mouth. Really,
he only has sex with her just to have a baby. He's like, yeah, I guess I gotta do it this way.
Fuck, okay, I have to.
There was a notable contrast of sexual behavior between these two cultures.
Typically, when people talk about BuckBreaking, they start on the plantation.
She said BuckBreaking.
BuckBreaking?
I've never heard of a second take.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
When we see all of the statues of naked Greeks and Romans with their extremely small penises, I think
it's not.
Got him.
I don't know how many penises he has examined. When people insult other people's penis size, I think that always usually says more about them. Yeah, statues of a statue's penis size. Number one, I doubt the sculptor of the statue was particularly thinking about how massive to make their penis. That's you over analyzing their penis. Okay, that's the first thing.
What if he's a grower and not a shower?
It could easily be that.
What man from what ethnic group can stand up against a black man toe to toe in manhood?
He's literally just talking about how black people have bigger penises, and this is an amazing fucking thing to put in your documentary.
When I line up all the races, I have examined the penis height, weight. I got even mouthfeel. I got a good sense of the mouthfeel as well. None of them has stood up to the great strength of the black penis, is basically what he's saying. But when he says manhood, I don't know if he means literally their genitalia or like a fight.
I think he's talking about penis. You don't say manhood. In the context of the sentence, he's definitely talking about penis.
They would travel at night dressed as women to go hang out at brothels and go mingle with the people as a woman. This is the king of the whole nation. And he hanging out here looking like Betsy.
That's not right. You can't dress as the other gender.
I think who he is talking about is Nero. And Nero is
even matters.
I think you're good point. I don't even need to get into it. It doesn't matter. He just wanted to do it for shock factor. Like, oh my God, can you believe a white person dressed up like a woman? Half the people in this photo can get it, unironically. Definitely the guy in the beard in the bottom right-hand corner. My camera's blocking it, but I like the flowers with his hair, actually.
Romans in the Colosseum used to get giraffes to have sex with the old horse, and the giraffes had such large genitalia, women would bleed to death, and the audiences loved it.
When white Arabs began...
Or you look at the ancient Greeks, the most feared fighters were the gay ones. They would tie two guys together at the ankle. If you've ever heard the expression, joined at the ankle, that's because they get two guys that liked each other, tie their ankles together. They die for each other, put them up. They fight anybody. You can go touch my man, I'll kill you. Don't look at my man.
Yeah, well,
I don't even know what he's talking about anymore.
Tariq he's thrown in every single thing that these people have said, no matter how contradictory it is, because it's like, okay, well, didn't we just hear earlier that the only reason white people were gay is because of they were cold or something?
Also,
and
wasn't they just talking about how the black male could never have anyone stand up to them in manhood, and then say some of the most feared warriors in history were gay? Okay, based. I don't what am I supposed to care?
Yeah, whatever.
When the Pope opens the shades to his window, he looks out at the structure that is often called the obelisk today. We should know that the obelisk is the symbol of the Tsar's erect penis.
Yes!
While they're removing penises,
whoa!
The Pope looks out at a large black penis every morning when he opens his shades. The irony cannot be lost.
Irony? What does he think irony is?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Rain.
the male is considered the strength. And so if you break the male, then you break the woman and you break the children. So when I think of buck breaking, I don't solely think about...
Pretty sure you spell breathe and breath the same way. That's you.
What?
You spell breathe.
Breathe has an E at the end.
Does breathe have an E at the end?
Oh my God. Dylan, you're literally...
Does it really?
Dylan.
I'm sorry, Dylan.
Oh
Dylan,
my God.
Do we need to talk?
Does it really?
Okay, so there's these really...
You could have just let it slide.
Right?
You could have just...
I could have, but I was like, I gotta
kept
check
playing
it.
the movie.
Yeah,
and now you look like...
we need to get back, guys, we gotta get back to the movie, okay? We need to get back to the movie.
Per se.
On plantations like this, we know that a lot of the black women who
finally he
were
comes
enslaved
out
here, one thing that is not talked about is the sexual exploitation that happened to the black men on these plantations.
More deviant art.
That was a homosexual enterprise.
Like what were gay rights even like being fought for? If white people have had a homosexual enterprise,
you know what happened? Fucking Christopher Columbus was sailing into the shore, and all the Native Americans, they came out, they were looking like, who is this man? He walked onto the beach and he said, "Hey sisters," and that was first contact.
Victorian expansion, British expansion, most of those colonels were homosexuals. In fact, and a very important...
That's not true. That's just wrong. That most of them were not gay. I can think of one person involved in the American Revolution that was gay, and that was somebody who helped train our army. That was it.
You don't understand. He has the best gaydar, and he can look at old paintings and know he knows.
He goes like, oh, look at that. Oh, they got the gay bone. They got the gay bone in this
He knows when he sees a gay man.
More fetish art. Why is
deviant
art? Why is this
so
much?
No, Tariq.
The thing is, there's so few historical like examples of it being portrayed in art that they had to make it themselves.
Example of him was to go through a process of complete and total humiliation, which included public flogging, which included actual rape.
As me, they would actually tie our hands down.
That facial expression, it looks like the poster for like a Medea movie or something.
Such a terrifying thing. Such a terrible thing with like Fiverr artists. They're promoting it like it's a Wojak soy.
Are you suggesting that Tariq Nasheed isn't very self-aware?
I don't know if I agree be with very self-aware.
Slave masters would rape black men.
Why? Stop making more art.
There's so much of it. Just keep it going. Just keep it going. Just keep moving along. Keep playing.
Sodomy.
Okay, there we go.
You had people like Thomas Thistlewood in Jamaica who talked about some of the black men who were sodomized out there.
The black man doesn't really want to admit that he was in such a weakened state that he was able to be, you know, buck-broken.
How do you support yourself?
Wait, Judge Brown?
Why is Judge Joe Brown on the screen?
Who's Judge Joe Brown?
Yeah.
Why
Judge
is
Brown
Judge...
just like it's like a Judge Judy-esque
Wait, is
kind of
this
show.
Judge Joe Brown? Is they using Judge Joe Brown as a reliable source of information on the gay community?
How do you support yourself, young man? Yo, Yana, with due respect, I got 4 ladies take care of me. They give me anything I want. They think I need. I got 2 of them with good JOBs. One get a crazy check, the other one get AFDC. They takes care of me. See, well, what about what you do? Well, I smooth them out. What do you do? Well, that's what I do. That just sounds like gigolo action, but see, you've been programmed to think that way. You're like a slave on a plantation. The buck who gets rewarded for knocking up all of the fillies on the plantation. So master.
This is so far the most incoherent part.
I'm sorry, are they making an analogy essentially saying that because some black men don't have jobs and that women take care of them, this is a result of buck breaking? This is absolutely fucking incoherent. Like, what? Yes, there are people out there whose full-time job is to be attractive. Oh, okay.
Yeah, people sometimes sustain themselves off of their spouses. This has, again, nothing to do with buck breaking. This is just tangential information.
They were raped by white female masters. And I know some people might think that that's odd to hear that a man got raped. But, you know, it was unconsensual sex. So it was rape. And so that's a part of buck breaking as well.
We are right in front of the Madame Lullaby mansion.
The travel budget from him to there was the entire budget of the movie, I bet.
Also conducted crude sex change operations on the enslaved foundational black Americans.
Oh, degendering.
Her torture ways became so brutal.
So the connection
The connection
is that she didn't experiment when it had to come with sex change operations, and so they're trying to connect it to the trans community, I assume. Well, if one
these
person
are not
just
systemic problems, these are singular people doing crazy shit.
The thing is, the idea that one person experimenting in a horrific fashion with sex change operations equals somehow produced is like, is this where trans people came from? It came from the torture of black people? That's ridiculous. Trans people and this type of the existence of trans people have been found prevalent on every continent on the planet, has been shown. And the scientific consensus is clear that trans people are a real phenomenon and they're not pretending. So the idea that it could have been produced out of like sex change or anything like that is ridiculous.
Feminism wouldn't exist were it not for black men. It was black men who were angry that their mothers were raped by the master, beat by the master, separated from their kids, who were demanding fair treatment for women. And they gave power to those old white lesbians and the horses and buggies and so forth.
The old white lesbians?
The old white lesbians.
How do we know these are lesbians?
Old white lesbians at the time.
Oh, the open.
Maybe he's just like conflating feminism with lesbianism.
Sounds like Jesse Lee Peterson when he's like the black radical lesbian feminist. Why is up with the random emphasis that there were lesbians every 5 seconds? Lesbian
also,
feminists.
it's weird to say that the reason feminism exists today is because another gender actually did it.
Yeah, another.
You should maybe qualify it by saying like in America, because like, okay, there's other countries, Scandinavian countries that are incredibly feminist that didn't have the same history, right?
The feminist movement was international in nature.
Having locks or having our hair in an afro or in its natural state is unprofessional. This is now a mental slavery that is taking place.
There have been so many laws in the United States that actually regulate black women's hair and appearance.
Like, the problem is like, I don't know why he wants to drag out his time so much, but like, even if this is true and like pertinent information, this has so fucking little to do with the actual situation. Like, what there is a big problem with like the hair perceptions for black women. What does this have to do with BuckBreaking again?
Somebody in chat just put a good point. It's one grain of truth in a sandbox of lies. That's what a lot of this is. And the problem is, like you said, none of this has to do with the actual like idea that the modern gay agenda is to trying to feminize black men, right?
There's a documentary on Netflix, and I think the whole thing is on YouTube also. It's called 13th. And it does, it delves into historical racism and slavery. And the greater point of the film is that, in some forms, slavery is still alive with the prison system in the United States. And it does a good job at connecting the historical aspects that they're talking about versus what's happening currently. In this film, I'm looking at everything they're saying historically. I'm like, just get to the modern shit, because this has nothing to do with anything.
And half of it's just wrong or speculation.
Tell me how this connects to gay people currently. You gotta connect it somehow. It's not connecting. Anyway, let's keep going.
So ironic that so much of the brutality meted out against African men, against black men, is supposedly because we are lusting for white women, something that we have no record of happening whatsoever.
In the Caucasian culture, they have this sadistic type of mentality when it comes to sex, where the more depraved, the more nasty, the more disgusting, the more immoral you can get, the more enticing and attractive it is.
This is so fucking weird. They're literally they're basically saying that like autoerotic asphyxiation is a culturally white phenomena.
It isn't. It is. It is all over the world.
50 Shades of Grey is literally like, this is every white woman.
It's 50 Shades of Grey, not 50 Shades of White, okay?
Because they believe that increases the strength of the orgasm.
Okay, you know how like black people, when we get to a certain age, our parents talk to us about the cops, and then when you guys get to a certain age, it's like, okay, son, just remember, if you choke yourself, it'll feel better. Like that's
Yep. I remember when Papa sat me down. I remember that conversation. It was lovely.
That choking is something so they could see his power leaving his body, but they would get somewhat of this erotic type of orgasmic feeling about it.
When we talk about...
Wait, did they just try to tie to actual lynchings?
Yes, they did.
Yes, they were essentially saying that as people weren't doing it because
then you have big pee-pee.
bigotry. They were just fucking cooming as they saw it. That's weird as shit.
The white LGBT community, they've never had a comparative struggle. In fact, their whiteness has always saved them, whereas the black LGBT people, they've always been punished. So there has never been a comparative struggle.
Gay people had to struggle, and gay people were lynched, gay people were shot, gay people were killed during the Holocaust. Oh, wait! He has Holocaust deniers in his thing. I'm sorry. Of course, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
I don't have to know that about you. Like, you don't have to wear your sexuality on your sleeve, but there's no way that you can avoid seeing that I'm an original man.
The dominant society.
Reason why people, okay, he's gonna say that while also having black nationalists after black nationalists wearing their culture on their sleeve, talking about how amazing black people are and how they created all the culture, how they created all the cool stuff, and then you're gonna complain about another group of people, gay people, showing their culture on their sleeve or showing their community. Dude.
There's people of every types of identity that make that their entire identity, and like whatever, like that's their prerogative. Like there's some people that like make every single conversation they have about the fact that they're a woman. Okay.
I like freedom and hunting and trucks. Also, gay people shouldn't be gay so loudly.
True.
It doesn't make sense. Like
billionaire behind the LGBT movement. Okay, rich people jumped into the movement.
Here.
Another blog. Yes, another blog. Not a well-sourced. No title to this.
What is the source? We don't even know.
We don't even know the source.
Could just be created for the film.
No clue.
Oh my god!
Millions behind
their story was tragic, and their suffering was dramatized by AIDS.
Gay people have had a lot of suffering, and also let's be clear that this isn't like a history of just billions of dollars being poured into the gay community. It is now that the gay community has been able to successfully launch a campaign of liberation in large part. Now corporations are jumping in to profitable off of gay markets. That's the reason they're doing it. You want to know what? Somebody could easily say in response, black people aren't really oppressed. Haven't you seen the billions pour in to Black Lives Matter protesters? Look at the Colin Kaepernick, how many sponsorship deals, black people on TV. Yeah, you could say the same thing about any oppressed group in the world.
A lot, they were pederasts. Hitler and all his crew. Yeah, there's a documentary or a book called The Pink Swastika. Check it out. It's all about the pederasty and the whole Hitler Youth and all of that. That's where they were getting them from and all of that. And all Eva Braun and all of those were just beards.
Robert Baden-Powell.
Just to be clear, the Nazis...
What? Eva Braun was a beard?
I
Is he saying Eva Braun was a man?
No,
they are saying that Eva Braun
Hitler's gay and
Hitler's gay. That's what they're saying. They're saying that Hitler is gay. There is let me be clear. There is no historical record of Adolf Hitler being a homosexual. There is no evidence to promote that at all. The thing, you know what there is evidence of? Of homosexuals being shoved into gas chambers and killed. Do you want to know what they said? They said something similar to what these people are saying. That many of the people in this documentary are saying that homosexuality was a Jewish plot. 2 of the people on this right now believe that. They believe the same thing the Nazis did. They are on this documentary right now.
Let's say theoretically that they were able to pull out something saying that like Hitler was gay or whatever. Does that change the fact that like he killed gay people, or like does that change any? Oh, you know what? If one bad person is gay, then it must mean that being gay is bad. Like, so that means all German people are bad, and
exactly
all men bad. All people with mustaches bad. Like, what is? I don't.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it wasn't like his homosexuality. It was his liberalism that got him to commit all those atrocities.
Yes, truly.
Who was an officer with the British Army. He was over in Africa fighting with a lot of the Aboriginal people there and dominating and conquering and colonizing.
Let me guess, he was gay too?
Them. Well, he was a closeted white LGBT.
Everyone gay.
Can he stop saying they were a closeted LGBT? Just say gay.
I think he's hungry for a sandwich.
He was the person who started the Boy Scouts, and the Boy Scouts were put together to be a white supremacist nationalist organization to teach white boys about the importance of white nationalism. In fact,
why use that
Boy
picture?
Scouts,
what are you trying to imply here?
Oh my god!
I don't know why Tariq is a match.
Do that? Holy FBI.
Dude, somebody needs to take a look at Tariq's hard drive, man. He's paying Fiverr artists to make slavery porn, and he's imagining these kids doing some weird things. Also, this is not a picture of the Boy Scouts. These are just Nazis. I don't know why you put this on the same page.
Boy Scouts had swastikas.
So if you're controlling the media and you're displaying black males in an effeminate manner, it's still showing the dominance and the power of European men. Think about this. I can make him put on a dress. And that's what they do. Did you?
Terrifying.
Photo.
Let's be clear. A black person making the free will decision to put on a dress, not as a symbol of their personal liberation or their struggle for liberation, but instead as the continued domination of white people. Like Harry Styles got, like, there was a huge backlash from people like Candace Owens for Harry Styles wearing a dress. So obviously it isn't just a black male thing. I can show you many examples of the same type of backlash and the same type of reaction for white men getting in dresses.
Yeah. I'm imagining a version of this documentary where instead of like this picture, they just show like Tyler Perry's Medea movies. Like just images like a black man wearing a dress. How can they be pushing this on us?
And I was worried about coming into work because they had us in these dresses. I think they're called burqas or something like that.
What?
And I went straight to the
my God,
director, and I was
what
like,
are
yo,
you
man,
talking about?
This guy doesn't even know what it is.
I think they're called burqas.
How did they
shot of dresses?
How did they find the one person on earth who doesn't know what a dress is?
You know what's crazy is like I'm looking at this from like an editing perspective. You can have people talking and then cut to the B-roll and then cut out the part where they said something completely wrong and then corrected them. You could make them look less stupid. Like shout out to earlier in the movie where the guy called the book a documentary. Like you can edit around, like, but they just don't. Like they're not interested in making themselves seem less stupid.
What if this is right? Like, is he actually getting upset that they asked him to put on a piece of religious clothing? I'm so
I don't even know if it's a burqa. We don't know what he thinks a burqa is.
Okay, yeah, that could be true.
And I went straight to the director, and I was like, yo, man, I'm not trying to mess up y'all's shot, but I'm not putting that on. And, you know, they were like, oh, Corey, it's just a joke. I'm like, well, I don't joke like that. I can't put on a dress because this is TV.
Yeah, it was those comments that got Kevin Hart canceled.
Tariq
Nasheed sat down a bunch of people and got them to talk about things that would go into this documentary. And that last one made it into the documentary. Think about that for it. The guy just saying, the director asked me to wear a costume once and I said, that's not cool. And the documentary just keeps going on and that made it in. That was not on the cutting room. That was a part of it.
I want to hear what was the stuff they actually cut out. Like what was so bad that they couldn't include?
Nothing.
Regardless of the facts that most pedophiles are white males, they will highlight black men.
Wow, you know what? That's wild. You want to know something else? What's the majority of the United States?
No, dude, I don't understand per capita numbers. You're breaking my head. I'm confused. What are you saying? Are you saying that there's 5 times more white people than
most
people?
Canadian pedophiles are Canadian.
Holy shit! No, Adam, I'm fucking foaming at the mouth. This is crazy. Please stop.
I'm actively getting stupider while watching this.
When you talk about homophobia, the reality is you can't get any more so-called homophobic than white evangelical Christians. They want to blame the black church. They want to blame black men.
Who's they? There's really like showing a fucking blog post.
You cannot.
Just a blog post. There's not that many people that talk about like homophobia as an exclusively black issue. It's been brought up. I've seen the argument, but it's not like a common thing.
If you look at media representations of homophobia, it is always a white, quote unquote, redneck type in the woods somewhere saying some weird stuff, the Westboro Baptist Church type, some Bible thumping white man. That is the stereotypical idea of a homophobe we have in the United States. This is due to the media prevalence of the Westboro Baptist Church and the fact that the church has been widely involved in the fight against gay marriage. Right now, one of your main complaints is going to be, I'm sick of people classifying the black community as homophobic or the black church is homophobic. The worst thing you could do is make this movie and take part in it. If that is one of your complaints, is that you don't want the black community to look homophobic, and then you produce this movie, you are actively making it more difficult.
There has been no one who has been more tolerant and supportive of homosexuals than
no one has been more tolerant and supportive of homosexuals
Tariq
than black
Nasheed,
people.
in fact, is a gay civil rights icon. He will be in the books like Harvey Milk.
That's why hip-hop, gangster, thug, rap, and rap video sell so well around the world, and also why it's so stagnant. It has not changed in 30 years. Those who put the money behind it, for the most part, sell a lot of it in Japan, Sydney, Berlin, Paris, Rome, London, Liverpool. And Japanese guys don't know how to dance. They just jump up and down, you know, with that.
What are we going with here? Like, what the fuck, Judge Joe Brown?
Yo, man.
I was waiting for a point, but he's like, Japanese people don't know how to
I think
dance.
that should remove his bar certification.
Brother Malcolm X, for example, I heard this narrative from some new documentary that came out, Malcolm X, you know, A Life of Reinvention, I believe was the name of the documentary. Manning Marable, who was a person, the primary individual who was a part of that, who wrote a book.
Did you just call another book a documentary? This is the second time they've called a book a documentary.
I heard this narrative from some new documentary that came out, A Life of Reinvention.
They could have made the book into a documentary.
Is the primary person, and there were others, who came up with this narrative that Brother Malcolm was gay.
They're also, not only have they taken our labor or our music, they're also taking our legacy. So, you know, they want to make all our leaders gay.
So, yeah, the rumors about the slave owners being gay, those were true. And if there's a rumor about a black person we like that was gay, that's not true. It's easy, simple.
Yes. If the rumor about this guy
being
gay,
you can trust rumors if it's a white person.
Our brother Fred Hampton, Black Panther leader out of Chicago, he was the person who had something called the Rainbow Coalition. That was the Black Panthers working with different groups to have a coalition and to have an allyship in order to fight against injustice.
They don't want to say communism and socialism, but Fred Hampton was also a socialist and a communist. But let me be clear, I don't think Tariq Nasheed likes communism or socialism, so I don't know if they're going to bring that up.
Could you imagine if I made my Kimba video and it was just me saying this happened and I didn't like back anything up?
Did you know this guy who believes Kimba was stolen was mean? Did you know that this guy who knew Kimba was stolen was mean?
It's like, what's the point of trying to make a persuasive argument if you're not even interested in being persuasive?
See, it used to be the male gender and the female gender had sex together, but when it was male on male or female on female, that was bad. But see, they've taken that word gender over the last 20 years, 25 years, and they
really told me this was I kept getting told time and time again, this is a documentary based on history and facts.
It's the most factual documentary ever. One of those just says cisgender woman.
Cisgender woman.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
There is one long spectrum with 58 genders on it. So that
asexual isn't a gender.
Of same
I'm sorry,
sex.
this is literally some of the most like right-wing sounding shit I've ever heard.
Do they not know that sexuality and gender
that's
is
not
not
a
the same
gender.
thing?
So you had NAMBLA, gay rights, all coming together.
No,
the founder of the gay rights movement used to wear a shirt that on the front.
Did he just say founder of the gay rights movement?
The founder of the gay rights movement used.
Whoever they're claiming is the founder of the gay rights movement is not the founder of the gay rights movement.
Even if they were, even if that was factual, that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, he was Mr. Homosexual.
The founder of Vice is Gavin McInnes.
Doesn't mean now we can't trust Vice's reporting now.
So clearly Vice Media is not the same as Gavin McInnes.
And far too many church leaders are more concerned with being able to curry favor with white America. They don't want to be viewed as being rabble-rousers or bomb throwers or troublemakers. They don't want to jeopardize certain grants and resources that they may be receiving.
The church is just being too nice to the gays when the church is one of the last standing homophobic institutions in the United States of America.
The Catholic Church is a gay organization.
Oh yeah, the Catholic Church brought homosexuality to Africa. Oh yeah, I almost forgot.
Black people are homophobic. That was part of an effort to make the black community and black culture gay friendly. en route to
wait, stop it. Stop it.
Culture.
You can't have that line in the documentary and then 20 minutes ago, another line in the documentary saying there's not a single community that's been more tolerant and accepting of the gays than black people. That's entirely contradictory. You can't do both.
This couple is very cute, by the way.
They are very cute. Also, Tariq Nasheed did not check his own script. Like, I don't think he remembers anything that was said like 10 seconds ago. Let it go 20 minutes
There's nothing
ago.
that was cut out. He just included everything.
There's nothing that was cut out, and like nothing was checked for contradiction.
En route to totally homosexualizing the black community.
You talk about the church.
Wait, was that their example of homosexualizing right there? Was that guy dancing?
Oh, yeah.
To totally homosexualize.
My God, that's terrifying.
It's the gayest dancing.
Described as a natural woman and chooses not to have sex with, kiss, interact with, or date a transgender person, a transgender woman.
I love this depiction they have of a trans person. This is the lovely, straight, normal people. And then they get to the terrible, evil trans people.
I have clothes on my couch. I don't know how to put things away. I have tissues out because I cry all the time.
Because I cry.
I'm an alcoholic. I just decided to start drinking from the bottle, being trans.
Yeah, the wine glass is there, but I'm drinking from the bottle anyway.
Then I'm seeing brothers in particular being gaslighted for, oh, you are a homophobe.
The black masculinity is the disease. Black femininity is the cure.
If you take that combination where, especially if you got a man who brought up under his mother's tutelage, and that doesn't mean it's bad, but if you have men that haven't been brought up around men, that rite of passage type of thing has never happened, you're gonna see a lot of bitch ass niggas.
What?
You're gonna see a whole bunch of bitches.
Yeah.
This is some scientific analysis I have yet to examine.
This is just like the most like paranoid and insecure documentary premise ever.
This is like
just tying everything together. Like they're trying to make me have sex with men, and everybody's in on it.
They're trying super hard. I just can't resist.
Like, what's going on here?
And they would do these paintings with them, and the paintings would have a very pedophile type look to them. It was very disturbing.
He's saying they're pedophiles because of their facial expression.
A pedophile-like look to them. What does that even mean?
That's so funny. That's like in Room 237 documentary. She's like, his face had a really Minotaur-like expression. Like, what do you mean?
But it's probably very telling is that there's a boys' town here in Chicago. Boys' town is a gay community here in Chicago, but what's telling is, I had to ask myself when I discovered it, why call it Boys Town?
They have made it so easy.
I don't know. Why call it fucking Girls' Night Out? That doesn't necessarily mean underage. Fuck you, idiot. You stupid.
Hell.
What do you mean?
It's not called Pedoville. It's called Boys Town.
Yeah, you can use the word boy to refer to male. That doesn't mean little child boy. They called it Boys Town. Think about it.
Thinking, you gotta think really hard on this one.
Me and the boys actually just as pedophilic dog.
Me and the boys was always pedophilic in nature.
Why do they call it Boys Town?
This movie, unironically, is giving me weird vibes when it comes to this issue because of how much they're reading into these tiny things. It's almost like they want it to be there. They want to see pedophilia. They want to capture it.
This is the only time we've been in Africa, but we were out there for a week, and there was a young kid who lived in the village that we were staying in, and he would just come around every day, and like they like to hold your hand and stuff like that. Like African men will hold each other's hands and stuff like that, walking around. So you're this little kid, he's grabbing my hand, holding my hand, and then he's like,
I said, nah, dude, that's gay.
Like, yo, I spoke to my mother, and she said I can go to America with you.
And then
I don't even have a child at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Because maybe she thought it was a better life or some shit. So now imagine a real white millionaire pulling up in his yacht or whatever, pulling off a private jet, talking about, I want to take your child for a better life. And they
Great.
just,
I'm so happy that we're going into hypothetical land. I literally don't know what his fucking point was. I was in Africa and a kid held my hand and said I could take him. Now imagine if a white person were to be in Africa, they would take him. Like what?
Epstein died in very peculiar circumstances. He was being monitored
The way he said
45 minutes. He virtually had none of the things that you would need to have in order to commit suicide.
The minute you walk into Jeffrey Epstein's New York mansion, there's this huge painting of President Clinton in the blue Monica Lewinsky dress and red heels, sitting in a chair,
this means
giving you
Epstein
this
was
look
gay.
Wow. This is some hard-hitting evidence. You want to know what this was? It was him mocking Bill Clinton. That's all it was. It was him mocking Bill Clinton.
I'd put that in my house.
People should still be more aware of the pedophile propaganda that's trickling down into the lives of the general masses.
I thought you were going to get to that. And
They
then
do
you
the
kinda
same
just went on
things
another thing
with
to read.
the drag queen reading hour, where grown men dress up.
It's not drag queen reading hour. It's drag queen story hour.
Yeah, they don't say words right.
There's nothing wrong with the organization. What they can do is they'll find people who used to be associated with the organization, or they'll find specific individuals. But there's nothing about drag queen story hour that has to do with pedophilia whatsoever.
And they read to little children in schools. One of these circumstances in Texas was by a Mexican male who dressed up as a female, who was a convicted child predator.
In a project design.
And what happened after that came out, by the way? What happened? And why bring up Mexican?
Yeah, that's a weird word to throw in there.
Specific lean on there that was Mexican. I think they just really want to emphasize that they weren't black.
And black people get a bum rap about being homophobic. You would think we killed Matthew Shepard. You would think a black guy shot up the Pulse nightclub down in Orlando. These are either white people or folks who are identified as honorary white that do this kind of stuff.
Honorary white. Honorary white.
What is an honorary white? He says honorary whites because he wants to count like Arabic people.
He wants to,
and
he wants to count
Mexicans.
non-white people as white. Yeah, whatever.
Kat, can I make you an honorary white?
I want to continue being my every university's token piece, so I'll continue what I'm doing. Thank you.
Got it. Just wanted to make the offer.
Okay.
Ronald Dominique, white guy who's down in New Orleans or who's just killing.
So this
black.
is again him. Okay, so this guy was like a pedophile and like a guy who killed a lot of black people.
We're back to the thing where he just lists things that people did from a certain group.
This white homosexual man killing black men, that's not homophobic. A black man saying,
Look, let me be clear. I can find you
Why would it be homophobic?
I can find you instances of black people killing white homosexuals, black homosexuals, and others. You can find this about every racial group in the United States.
Fucking look at this numbers in terms of like likelihood for like violence or murder, and black trans people are like at the top, right?
They are the most likely.
Like
to get
they're
murdered.
in black communities. So like, and again, it's wrong to paint brushes, over an entire group of people, which is why you should never say something like, "Oh yeah, that means like black people are homophobic," right? But statistically, if we're going to look at numbers, it doesn't back up what you want it to say, Tariq, and the people in your documentary.
Also,
like if you're going to play that game,
he wants his son to grow up straight like Kevin Hart. Now he's a monster.
Well, no, that's also homophobic. It's still homophobic. Like, for example, there's like degrees of homophobia, right? If I said, for example, my dad once told me, "Thank God my only son ain't gay." That was a terrible thing I heard. Terribly homophobic and was very hurtful.
Did he yell psych?
He didn't. Sadly, he did not. But if someone was to come and murder me for being gay, that is worse. Both things are still homophobic.
If Kevin Hart was a gay man that said the same thing about his son and saying, "I don't want my son to be straight," then that would just be used in this documentary as evidence for the conspiracy, right? So...
Yeah, well, I'm trying to figure out what did Kevin Hart actually pass what was his act? What did he actually say? Because they say it's like not that serious.
As part of his like stand-up thing, he was like, "If I had a gay son, I'd smash his dollhouse. I'm not having any of that." But then, even outside of the perspective of the comedic stuff, which even in comedy, it's like you're supposed to show a bit of yourself in it.
So
like,
he said
that's kind of weird. But even outside of that,
it looks like he basically said as a joke that he'd beat his kid if they were gay.
Yeah, and then even outside of that, he's literally said in interviews he would never play a gay character because he doesn't want people to think he's gay.
I don't joke like that. I can't put on a dress.
Just what size the black LGBT population was, it came out to be roughly about 4%, right, of black America. And yet, out of that population, there was basically one black trans person killed per year, some years. For black men, but most particularly heterosexual black men, it was.
Wait, are they trying to downplay the okay,
yes,
number one,
are.
It was not one.
Yes, they are.
This person is saying is wrong. It is an epidemic. It is much higher statistical rate. Yes, more black men are killed than trans black women. That is true, but that's because there's more black men than black trans women. The thing is with this specifically,
there was basically one black trans person killed per year, some years.
One black trans women killed per year, some years. What does that even mean? What it means is he's saying that he can find a year in existence where only one was murdered. And you know what? If you went back to the 1980s and 90s, I'm sure you could do that because they wouldn't be listed as black trans people. They would have just disgustingly just said man, because that's how they would have listed it back then, because that's how they viewed trans people back then. If you look at it today, you can't go about a few weeks without hearing another story about a black trans woman who was murdered. I remembered 2 years ago, 2 black trans women were killed literally 1 week apart in my county, in the same week.
Wasn't there a black trans woman killed the other day in this county?
Yes.
Yeah, so, okay, so
you're right, it happened 2 weeks ago.
Nebraska.
Another black trans woman was killed in my community. So unless my county is the black trans murder capital of the world, or it's a systemic issue in the United States, and he's trying to downplay it with just no data.
For black men, but most particularly heterosexual black men, it was about 200 to 300 per year, right? But you can see the kind of stratification of the data, but notice that nobody presents the data.
In a real documentary, they would account for per capita and make an adjustment and show you the real numbers. But this is not a real documentary.
Oh, it's supposed to be black folks killing each other out on the streets. Not really. That idiot Lightfoot, also a LGBTQer.
What?
She gave funds.
They say it's so weird. What they mean is she's a lesbian.
LGBTQAnon.
Exactly. She's a lesbian.
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 A clinic that performed sex change operations, but look, this is the kicker, Brother Tariq. The inaugural patient, the first one who was scientifically transgender.
That's not how you.
I want to hear the rest of this sentence.
Scientifically transgendered. I love that sentence.
The first scientifically transgender person.
He said this is the kicker. So this is gonna be a hardcore bomb. Okay, let's get ready. I'm betting you $10 is just gonna be they were black.
The first one who was scientifically transgender was a black male named Avon Wilson.
They were trying to get brothers to wear skirts in hip hop. And I feel
That's
like
Kanye.
I was on the forefront, if not single-handedly.
They were trying.
The best thing hip hop ever did. Bass.
Kanye is inconsistent from day to day. I don't know if that was a push to try. I don't know if he was trying to get other people to wear skirts.
I called out all these dudes, Omar Epps, anybody that was wearing skirts out here was like, nah, that ain't cool.
They're gonna show
so that trend didn't pass. It came real quick, and then it's gone.
They haven't even explained why wearing a skirt would be bad. Why exactly what's wrong with skirts fundamentally that men can't wear them? Also, does anybody know Prince or somebody's brought up Andre 3000? Yeah,
or like fucking Rick James.
I love Andre.
Like, you know how fucking queer so many of like black artists are. But yeah, okay, go off, King.
I'll try to bring it back at some time, but not while I'm around.
White will stop them. We need to use that as a model to handle white men. So if we start with them, we can make the process so that young white boys wanting to be hip will try to be like they see black men do. So if we get black men jacked
that was a funny shot.
Appreciating with no respect and glorifying dysfunction.
So many twerking videos.
They really studied a lot of them.
This is an awful documentary. This is an awful film.
Can I ask you a question? Out of all the documentaries you've watched, where does this rank?
It's pretty low. I don't know if I've seen something this bad that I've sat all the way through on, though. This might be the worst one that I've watched completely.
Dr. Henry Kissinger, who promoted this in 1974, that homosexuality should be promoted as a strategy or as an advantageous lifestyle in black communities, as a way to go towards depopulation, that he quoted in his National Security Study Memorandum 200, where he stated, quote, depopulation should be the highest priority of U.S. foreign policy towards the third world, end quote. But he also meant that for it to be domestic and local.
But if you think
about
what the fuck? You just said that. What you said the quote, and then you said, but he also meant this. You can't.
So he meant.
You can't.
So
you're just interpreting things he didn't say. You didn't even show the quote, first of all.
Yeah,
and then
true.
at the end of it, you say, but he also meant domestically. What the fuck? Sorry.
I'm trying to look this up and I can't find anything on it right now. We're watching this live, of course, but they provide no sources. So was it a domestic policy for American black people, or was it an international policy for the third world, the promotion of this for depopulation? And number three, just because Henry Kissinger said this, which I don't even think he said it, I can't find anything on it. If anybody in chat can, send it over. If he did, there's still no evidence that that policy was taken up. He's done a lot of terrible things. I hate Henry Kissinger. I've never heard about this. Okay, I was just sent the report. I am going to find, so homosexuality, okay, homosexuality does not come up in it. Gay, does gay come up? No. Queer.
You should be able to just search the words from the quote, and if you can't find them, then fuck searching for anything.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now in the entirety of the thing they're talking about.
Like, how many white couples do you know? Oh, we're going to in vitro. We have to have shots and all this because we're having trouble having a baby. So it's not just that we reproduce faster, stronger offspring. They have trouble reproducing.
So because we have
black women don't need him.
So few black folk in the hood that are men, it's fairly easy to get to them and condition them to negativity. See, the thug, typical hood rat thug, is a lesbian in a boy's body.
Okay, cool. Nice. Okay.
Okay. I don't understand, but
the typical thug, hood rat, their words, is a lesbian in a boy's body. There was no counterclaim, no evidence provided,
man.
Just this on screen. This is the evidence.
I don't know.
Brilliant.
Lesbians and the hood rat are raised like girls.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Black America is under an estrogen assault through our food, through our water, through
so many twerkings.
Air in black zip codes is very different from air in white zip codes. It's a fact.
They're turning you gay through the air.
Turning you gay through the air, and the estrogen in food is also turning you gay.
You would buy at a grocery store, 60% have been bio-infused with soy isolate. Why?
Okay, let's
soy! You know what else has fucking hormones in it? Milk, you fucking idiots! Like, why is that? Why is the meme with soy now?
No. I'm here for the fucking estrogen argument that secretly they're feminizing all black men. Instead, even though it's literally shit that everybody's eating,
too much dairy products can give you tits. They can, like,
if you drink enough milk, then you'll start lacting.
Hormones in dairy products, and the way that like the estrogen is processed in soy, and the way that you get it through your body doesn't do the same thing as if you were getting it through something like milk, where there actually is somewhat of an effect. Okay, but you never hear them talking about milk because that's traditional and that's been around forever. But soy is this new scary thing.
This is a great example. Here's the best tester for this. I know a lot of poor trans people in Maryland, and they do a lot of things to try to get their hormones so they can start self-medicating in a lot of instances because they don't have access to health care. It's part of the reasons why LGBTQ plus inclusive healthcare is super important. If it was the case that you could slowly feminize yourself by drinking milk or eating these foods, I would just see them all constantly just getting gallons of milk and injecting it directly into their bloodstream.
Fuck HRT.
Exactly.
I'm drinking milk.
Male hormone estrogen. So you eat a lot of soy, males start developing.
Tariq directed this one. Oh my god. What do you think Tariq was telling him behind the camera? Holy shit. All right, now can you rub your man boobies for me for this documentary?
For the documentary. Zoom.
Essentially, slower. That was pretty good, Tariq.
This is
not
gold.
Gonna lie.
This is gold.
Best shot so far.
Now that we understand how deep and insidious the BuckBreaking agenda really is.
We don't.
Do we?
You don't. You didn't provide us.
Now that I've provided this persuasive argument that no one is confused
that was
by.
it. We just watched it. The rest of this is just going to be like, what next, right? Isn't it?
Conclusion.
That was the argument. This was everything. I was told that this was the movie that was.
Now that you understand,
truly understand just how full of shit Tariq Nasheed really is.
We now have to ask the question. How do we combat the nonstop barrage of BuckBreaking propaganda?
Can I unironically say that I've seen more gay porn in this than I have in the last like 10 days in my actual just day-to-day life?
All of a sudden, they're talking about, well, what about trans issues? What about LGBT issues? What about women's issues? They start talking about gender and sexuality.
But both things are
You're
important.
not allowed to talk about those things.
So we have to understand when certain people have been put in certain positions to be the spokespersons for Black foundational society, and we have to know how to reject that when it's not conducive to the good of our community.
What we need to do as a people is control our media and also educate our own children. Malcolm X said, only a fool would allow his enemies to educate his children.
Anything you get from mass media, reject it. And here's the other thing.
You have
Just
a
mass
television
media.
show.
Yeah, exactly. You were part of mass media.
It's about protecting womanhood and
man up. Great instructions there. That literally tells people nothing.
Promoting manhood.
And as we are continually bombarded with images of over-sexualized Black youth, bombarded with images where we don't see holistic, healthy relationships between Black men and women, we are going to continue.
By the way, this is literally the exact same thing I hear white supremacists say, that we see all these gay whites and all these queer whites. We don't see straight white men in movies anymore, just being straight white men taking hold and man. This is just that repackaged, 100%.
Whatever happened to James Bond?
Exactly.
Oh, wait, it's still going?
Who are you mad at? Like, okay, if there's no like
them, that's who they're mad at.
Yeah, I mean, I guess them, but like if there's no like good representation for like Black relationships on TV, it's not the queer Black people doing it. Like, who are you mad at right now?
Also, the idea that that's not represented anywhere is just false. You just, I don't care if you like, you just watch 2 shows and they're like, oh, it's not there.
This is the reason why the propaganda continues.
That I believe that the strong, independent Black woman trope is something that is killing us as Black women, because it creates this mentality that we can do it on our own. And
so what?
Oh, it's anti-man.
Oh,
it's anti-family.
It's anti-man. The woman needs to be subservient to the man.
We should instead be teaching Black women that they can't do anything without a male. That's what we should be teaching.
I mean,
1 second. I want to take a tip from the movie. We have some ravioli in the fridge. Could you go heat that up for me?
you can literally suck my ass, but yeah. No, not a chance. I think it's strange. Every time that they decide to take a jab at like an organization, it was always like, there's a left-wing organization out there. Like, being an independent Black woman, bad. And I would like to see what the alternative is. He'll say that I need to be barefooted, sucking dick and making sandwiches. I'm ready. Let's go.
And it's a backhanded compliment because it makes it seem like we can't rely on our men to be strong for us, and we can if we allow them to.
And if we do not have a plan in place through nutrition, through education, not education, through a reorganization of what family means, back to old school, what family is about,
back to
raise
old school.
the male.
Got it. No transes, no gays, none of that.
Nuclear family.
Yeah, back to old school.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Making it great again.
Masculinity is a set of behavioral protocols that you input into a boy. So he is conditioned to be unable to deviate from them. Essentially, that's duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability.
You're just saying random stuff, okay? You're just trying to say all the good things, but there's a lot of things about modern masculinity that's also very negative. A great thing is what this movie was supposed to be about is rape. Due to the fact of how prideful men are and how men's rape has been like socially stigmatized, male rape victims don't come forward. They don't, because they think they're going to be humiliated. There's also toxic parts of masculinity that do need to be addressed. But he's just saying random qualities that I guess you could, with your own little person and fan fiction headcanon, you could associate with masculinity, I guess, if you wanted to. He's just saying random stuff. Like, do you think any of this is scientific? Listen.
That's duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability, dependability, work ethic, furthering his intelligence, his education, making where he lives a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, morality, ethics, and a sense of purpose.
All people have.
That was 17 different things. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll finish this real quick. We're almost done.
Do it.
I gotta go eat.
Get it over with.
Asians are not any danger. They're wannabes, even though they have a different cultural approach
What
to it.
is going on right now?
Did he
Sorry,
just
where
say
have we gone with this?
Asians are wannabes? Asians are just fake whites?
This is a weird thing to throw in the last minute of your documentary. This is... What the fuck?
Latinos are no different. They're wannabes, even though they are African too, to some degree.
And all they're doing is showing specific, just one Latino person, one Asian
very
person.
inspirational
that's
music.
That's all you need. Yeah, this is very beautiful music.
That endangers what the white man concept of a man is. That endangers what a white man concept of a woman is the African group, and particularly...
This feels like the end of a video game.
The African American.
Yeah.
We have to be the ones to lift up their stories and to teach our children
so that you feel like you've actually accomplished something by getting through
and what
the whole
happened to these resilient people that came before us. Not only do we tell their stories, but we continue their legacy of struggle. They never gave up. Regardless of what they went through, they always continued to struggle for liberation. And it is on their shoulders that we stand today. And so we would abdicate our responsibility and desecrate their memory if we live this life and we don't continue to fight against white supremacy, racism, and anti-black bigotry, if we don't continue to cry loud and spare not against injustice. That is how we continue their legacy. That is how we continue to honor them.
That it? That was BuckBreaking. That was BuckBreaking.
I want to see the credits.
A Tariq Nasheed film. He's very proud of this one.
Yeah.
Featuring. So here's a huge list of homophobes. Their time.
Doctor. They know what they're talking about.
Okay, so for a bunch of these people, I did look them up because I kept on saying doctor like every 5 seconds, and a bunch of these people don't have PhDs in anything. They just call themselves.
Oh, it's just they just decide to go by that name, and Tariq is respecting their change of identity, I guess.
The thing that got me is like one would say like professor, and they were talking about history, and then I look what they're a professor, and they're like a professor in engineering, and I'm like, what? Why is this person speaking to me?
Like that was their qualification, and I'm like, yep, you're good for BuckBreaking.
I need to wrap it up. I'm headed out.
It's been 7 hours, Dylan.
It's been pretty fucking long.
I wasn't expecting to be here for 7 hours.
But we're just such great company.
You're just such great company. I'm sorry for keeping you so long.
You don't have to apologize. I was not. There was no gun to my head, I guess.
Do you have any final thoughts about this movie? A score? Maybe?
It was cancer. I have cancer now. Yeah, Tariq Nasheed is just so annoying. This is about what I expected. There were some funny memes in there.
Yeah.
Some funny moments.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm gonna raid my
Thank you. I'm gonna go to bed.
Wicked Supreme, you have a good sleep, okay, buddy?
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Kat, also.
No, it's my pleasure.
Bye-bye.